Well, hey, there you are, Sonia here. Welcome to Sonia's Sermonettes. There's two things that's been on my mind that I would like to share with you today about one of the disciples. Now, we all know the story of when Jesus decided to take a walk on the water. Walking toward the ship, the disciple asked, "If that be you, then bid me come." Well, there was only one disciple that did that, and that was Peter. And of course, Jesus said, "Well, come." Well, Jesus let him walk on the water for a short time, but then that disciple started to sink, and he called out to the Lord. He knew he needed help. He knew that only Christ was going to be able to save him, that he wasn't going to be swimming back to the boat, but that he was sinking. And he called out to the Lord. What a precious experience that must have been for the Lord to realize, my people, when they call out my name and they cry out to me for help, I will be right there for them. And then there's another passage of Scripture that's always been very touching to me, and I used to think about it often when Jesus was talking to his disciples. Now, you know that Jesus knew pretty much everything that was going on around him anyway. He had this discernment. He had the ability to see through the Spirit what people said and thought about him. But that particular time, for an unknown reason at that time, he asked this question. He asked his disciples, "Who do men say I am?" Well, some of the disciples said, well, some say you're this, some say you're that, you're Elijah, you're a prophet, or whatever. But that was not the answer that Jesus was actually looking for. And the particular reason why he asked this was this. He wanted to know who it was that was so connected to the Spirit that they could understand that it had to be determined by the Spirit of God. And so the same disciple that was out there walking on water with Jesus, that sunk, thou art the Son of God, the living Christ. Well, guess what Jesus said? He didn't say to the other guys, "Well, you've done well, you've carried back news for me, and you gave me information," as if, like I said, he didn't already know. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was testing the disciples and see which one would be the most likely to be chosen to be given the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Now, isn't that amazing? Peter said, "Thou art the Son of God, the living Christ." And here's the reply that Jesus Christ gave to him. "Only the Father has revealed this to you." Now that's why that disciple was chosen. And he even told him at that very time, "Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Now sometimes you and I, we go through testing of our faith, don't we? We get tried, especially this day and age, We have everything bombarding us. When we get tried, our faith gets tried. Sometimes we even start sinking, and we truly, truly have to call out to the Lord and say, "Lord, spare me of this situation that I have found myself in, and lift me up higher where you are, Lord, where your Spirit is, where there's power to walk on water. Calm the storms of the sea, whatever, part the waters, whatever. I'm going to call on the one that has the most power." But because of the disciples' reply, Peter the disciple said, "Thou art the Son of God, the Christ." This was what Jesus was searching for. I want you to confess to me that you believe that I am the Son of God. And did you know later it tells us in the written word that if we confess with our mouth that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and was crucified and was resurrected, then guess what it says? Thou shalt be saved. So those two things go together as well, don't they? Whatever God is doing in your life, just believe it's okay, that He's working in your behalf. And as long as you believe, as long as you trust in Him, regardless, you may say, well, I've made mistakes. Well, I don't know anyone that hasn't. I haven't not yet met one that hasn't made mistakes. But you see, God is not focusing on that. You say, well, what is God focusing on? Our heart and what we really would want to do in our desire of our heart, the intent of our heart, not what happens to us outside. You know where God dwells? He dwells within us. There's where He knows everything about us and what's going on within us, as well as through healing power. He's there in our body. He's able to heal. He's able to set us free, to deliver us. And what we have to do is this, is just simply believe. Simplify what God has already said we could have. It's complicated, but yet it's very simple. So much so that a little child believes. Aren't you glad for Jesus Christ? I'm glad you stopped in. And so, until next time.